The International Women's Air and Space Museum presents History for People with Short Attention Spans. Today's lesson, Ruth Nichols. Ruth Nichols set many records and accomplished many firsts for women in aviation. She was born in New York City, February 23, 1901, and was the daughter of Erickson Norman Nichols, a member of the New York Stock Exchange. In 1922, while attending Wellesley College, she took time out to learn to fly in Florida, under the tutelage of Harry Rogers. Nichols received the first seaplane pilot's license ever issued to a woman by the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale. She was only the second woman to receive a pilot's license from the American government, and in 1927 received the second transport license issued to a woman. After serving as a co-pilot for Harry Rogers on a nonstop flight from New York to Miami in 1928, she took a sales promotion position with the Fairchild Aviation Corporation. In 1929, she flew a Curtiss fledgling to 46 states in an attempt to set up a chain of aviation country clubs. The first was established at Hicksville, New York, but expansion plans were halted by the Great Depression. In 1929, she and Amelia Earhart formed a women's pilot organization known as the 99ers. Nichols' desire to accomplish feats that had never before been attempted led her to search for new records, which in turn led to 6 serious crashes. Nichols stated, "When a person loves flying and understands it and knows the reason for an accident, there is no fear. I could hardly wait to be in the air again." In 1930, Nichols flew from Los Angeles to New York in 13 hours and 21 minutes, cutting 1 hour off the mark set by Charles Lindbergh. In March 1931, she achieved the women's world altitude record of 28,743 feet, and in April 1931 set the women's world speed record of 210.754 miles per hour. Nichols' next feat would be a transatlantic flight. On June 22, 1931, Nichols took off from Floyd Bennett Field, New York in her transatlantic effort, but crashed on landing at St. John, New Brunswick. She broke 5 vertebrae as a result of the crash, and only weather and lack of funds prevented another attempt. In October 1931, she flew from Oakland, California to Louisville, Kentucky, corseted in a steel brace, and set a woman's distance record of 1,977 miles after 14 hours in the air. On February 17, 1932, Nichols attained the diesel engine altitude record for men and women of 19,928 feet. In December of that year, she became the first woman to serve as a pilot for a passenger airline, flying for New York and New England Airways. In 1939, Nichols' attention shifted to humanitarian causes in which aviation could play a role. She would be instrumental in founding Relief Wings, a volunteer flying organization set up to aid victims in times of emergency or disaster. Nichols was involved in many humanitarian efforts, including UNICEF, where she was the special correspondent on a round-the-world tour in 1949, and received the title World Pilot. In 1955, Nichols became the first woman in the United States to pilot a twin-engine jet executive aircraft, a Morane Saulnier, and 3 years later, at the age of 57, served as co-pilot of an Air Force supersonic jet that exceeded 1,000 miles per hour and reached an altitude of 51,000 feet. This was the highest altitude achieved by any woman in the world. Despite all of Nichols' accomplishments, she suffered from depression. In 1960, she died in New York City after taking an overdose of barbiturates. Before her death, she wrote, "Flying has nearly killed me many times. It has never made me rich. Yet from the challenge of the skies, I have reaped humanity's most treasured reward. Life, in its fullest meaning, for myself and in relation to others." To find out more about Ruth Nichols and other women in air and space, visit www.awasm.org. Thank you for watching. The end.